Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another live stream here tonight. Had to move my microphone over from the other computer. In the process of recording another 9/11 video. Ehud Barak, yeah, meet with Peter Thiel. Well, that's interesting with Epstein. Yeah, it's all connected with the Israel stuff, probably. Did you see an appeals court just literally ruled that the tariffs are illegal and they have until October to fix them? Even Supreme Court won't be of use. Yeah, I would not worry about that. They're just gonna ignore it. I mean, they'll ignore it. It doesn't matter. Happy Friday. Yeah, man. Happy Friday. Thoughts on redistricting news? It looks pretty positive. It looks like well, where there are a few states that announced they're going forward with it. I know Missouri announced they're going forward with it. Maybe Kansas was the other one. So that's probably going to add 2 more seats, I would imagine. They're trying to squeeze out every last seat for 2026. Yeah, the Great Reset. I just think whenever one of those liberals says it's not, but honestly, with the tariffs, it's not even. I mean, this is the tariffs aren't even. They're already in the process of happening. So you really there's not much you can do to stop them. I mean, the tariffs are just they're just an economic strategy to bring jobs back to the United States and generate revenue. It's Trump's prerogative whether he wants to do tariffs or not. You can't micro uh, analyze everything and say, well, Trump can't do a single thing because you need to go through 5 billion liberals and get their opinions first. That's not how it works. It's an economic policy. Florida, Missouri. How many seats is Florida going to add? At least 3, I heard. Supreme Court does need to rule in favor of tariffs. Oh, they'll definitely rule in favor, I would imagine. I mean, it's 6-3, the Supreme Court. And this is something that is not seen as extreme, the tariffs, especially the post-Liberation Day tariffs. So I would say, thoughts on Boise State? That was a really bad performance. Listen, when I picked Boise State, that was mainly because of Sharps. They were saying to pick Boise State. I didn't really trust them, but that was embarrassing. You lose 34-7. It's a kind of a weird road game for them, but really bad performances. Labor Day, dude, that's a thing with my job. I just, I have no concept of these holidays. I mean, I know now. I know Labor Day is coming. When I was in school, of course I would be. You understand all the holidays and when they're coming up because you get days off. But now it just all blends together. Outside of like Thanksgiving, I mean, Thanksgiving is one where you kind of have knowledge of it weeks in before. Christmas is, but other than that, man, it's like any of these holidays, even the weekends to a degree. But now the weekends with college football, it's with football, the weekends are more structured because you know when the weekend is coming because the football is going to be on. And without it, it's a little bit different though. But I can always sense a Sunday. I don't know why. I've never been a big fan of Sundays. I can just feel it. It's weird. Even after my schooling, I mean, nobody really. When you're in school, you don't like Sundays because it's especially Sunday night because it's the week. The week is coming, full work week, school week. Yeah, Boise State's going to be unranked, man. They were 25th. They lost by 27 points to an unranked team. Of course, they're going to be unranked. You watched Superman today. It was pretty good, but the political slap is pretty clear. It's a country that has strong ties with the U.S. and is invading another country, literally Israel, Palestine. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'd have to watch it. I've heard both sides on people. Some people saying it was politically motivated, other people saying not so much. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that might be a little bit of overanalyzing it, unless they're. It depends the context of the way it was being portrayed. Like, is it evil white people invading? I mean, that's kind of context that I would have to see. Which country has legit benefited after U.S. intervention? Most have been, well, most of them suffer significant. I mean, there's a lot that's their infrastructures get destroyed when that happens. But I don't know what this is. I mean, it's a cartel issue mainly. It, whatever Trump wants to, I feel like it's something other than the cartels. Probably the amount of oil that Venezuela has. I would imagine that's some influence. I don't know what Trump wants to do with that, but the context of Venezuela is they have a very socialist government who blatantly cheated at their last election. The people did not vote for them. Then they rigged it on like a recount. I mean, if you look at the story of it, it's pretty insane. Or I don't even think there was a recount. The ruling doesn't mean anything. The executive branch is in charge of enforcing laws, so if Trump doesn't want to enforce the ruling, technically there's nothing stopping him. Yeah, I mean, whenever there's a ruling like that, especially with tariffs, especially where we're at in tariffs to where they're already enacted, there's really nothing. I mean, if they were to rule tariffs, like if Trump really overstepped, that should have been ruled on April 3rd, when they went into place. We can't we can't completely change our tariff policy now. The policy is the policy because we put Trump in office and that's what he wanted to do. I mean, and if it has to go to the Supreme Court, they're going to rule in Trump's favor. You watching any college football tonight? Probably not. I mean, I'll see the scores, I'm sure. I don't really think there's that Colorado game people were talking about. I saw. I don't know. It's like my college football. Somebody was saying my college football knowledge is washed. Yeah, I mean that's just kind of what happens, I guess, when you go into different arenas. So I could understand that. They make it so the country invading is the bad one. The leader is portrayed as super evil white dude that is friends with Lex Luthor. Yeah. No, I mean I'd have to look at it, but I mean if there's undertones, I'm sure they're pretty easy to figure out if you're politically savvy. And because the thing is I heard from different people. Some people said it wasn't politically motivated, other people said it was. So it depends, I guess, the level of political awareness you have in determining that. All right, let's see the gerrymandering stuff. Order is going to be withheld until October 14th. Which court is this? Circuit? Typhoon, what's up, man? So that is the recent news. They're appealing that. I mean, I believe that's happened once before, and it got removed.
The John Sick tipped $5 through Super Chat. Is Alligator Alcatraz being shut down?
No, it's not. It's not. That's another that's another judge ruling they're throwing out. No, they're appealing that. It's not going to be shut down. It's being reported Florida's congressional redistricting is set to add 4 Republican seats, according to Benny Johnson. Wow, so it was 3-5. They got 4, maybe. What is the point of tariff trade agreements if all revenues have to be repaid? It undermines the U.S. negotiating leverage. This should have been done sooner. What do you mean? What do you mean it has to be repaid? I mean, if you're talking about them ruling on this, yeah, obviously it should have been done sooner. Yeah, that's kind of it. Well, that's checks and balances. They try and stall agenda. It's unfortunate, but with Trump, it's kind of next level. They think he's a dictator. They think he's overstepping authority. So basically, anything he puts in, it puts into law, they're gonna try and restrict it or stop it from happening or muddle it and just make it less easy for him to pass legislation, which it should be decently easy considering the control of Congress, but it is a very simple majority in the House. Isn't Nebraska going to redistrict? I don't know. I heard there was a rumor for sure. And that Nebraska redistricting would be really impactful because it would involve an electoral vote changing if they decide to do it. I think they could certainly do it based off of the fact that that Democratic district is only like a +9 for them, and the statewide it's like +25R. So I think they could certainly do it. Here's a Redditor comment on the Minneapolis church shooter. Based, take that, dude. When they say based, it's just seems like cope, like that word. Liberals using that word. I don't know. Take the fight to their kids so they can feel what it's like to be attacked for your identity. You say, but I'm desensitized to that. It doesn't surprise me that they would respond by saying that. It's like the fake edgy bravado, like, oh, go kill their kids. It's like you're never gonna win by saying stuff like that. They just say it to be edgy, and they think they're like badasses. It's like people taking estrogen. Oh, you're so bad. Tariffs are a tax on foreign importers, and no, I agree with you 100%. They are a tax on corporations. That's what they are, and they do significantly hurt other countries because those countries are less attractive to do trade with U.S. companies if they're going to be hit with tariffs. But you're right. It's not the argument is, well, they say that the tax will be passed down to the consumers. They're going to have to raise their prices because importing it costs more money. But that's not how it always works, especially in a competitive capitalist economy. It depends if you have a monopoly over the whatever sector you're in, because then you could raise prices, or you just have such a good product that people will buy for a higher price. It's one of those two things. If you don't have either of those, you really can't afford to raise prices. And they've been eating the prices, at least. That's why the inflation hasn't gone up like crazy. I saw a liberal article say that that's why. I mean, I saw there was also a Atlanta Fed GDP estimate of around 3.5% growth in Q3. So at this point, Q3 is about 2/3 of the way done. So they're saying it's about 3.5% growth is the estimate. And they revised the previous GDP growth to, I think, 3.3 or something. They keep revising these numbers. It's like they immediately come out and we react to them and then they just get revised. So I don't know. But imagine we get another 3% growth. Those comments are okay, but if you agree with a singular Trump policy, you get a life ban. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just it's an echo chamber. I mean, 90% of the politics on Reddit is going to be a liberal echo chamber. You just gotta, understand that's just how it is. Guy is such a failure. He went to a church full of children, only managed to kill two. Bro, yeah, I don't know the exact details. Apparently, he shot through the windows, and I'm not sure what ended up happening. I mean, I would imagine he probably got in somehow, but yeah, I mean, thankfully, a lot of those people, when they shoot someone, they think they automatically die. Apparently, there were 15 that got, or 13 that got injured or something. So when he committed suicide, he probably thought he had gotten a lot more, but they were just injured. Will you be tuning in to College Game Day tomorrow for the last Lee Corso headgear pick? I haven't watched much of College Game Day in recent years. When I was younger, I used to watch it. But yeah, tomorrow I'll definitely at least see who he picks. That's kind of a tough. I mean, I think I think Texas wins a close game, honestly, against Ohio State. But it's kind of tough because Ohio State's at home. They haven't lost an opener in like 20 years. So, I mean, we'll have to see. Is betting on the weather worth it? Dude, you got to have. There's never. It's betting on the weather is never worth it unless you have some crazy, inside radar system or something, some ultra. Because for the weather, it's like you have to bet on a specific degree. That's if the general range is like 78 is the high. What are you gonna bet on? Like sometimes it goes up to 80, sometimes it's 76. I mean, it's unless you have some type of advanced knowledge on it. Anyone in California is a Republican, and hopefully get the independent voters to vote no on 50. That's going to be one win out of the way. Would also devastate them. Yeah. I think that vote, if you're talking about the special election, I think it's probably going to pass. MAGA broke Jasmine Crockett. She can't take it anymore. Mentally ill and a grade A loser. Yeah, I don't know. You're a politician, bitch. Get a thicker skin. Following the court decision, Trump is saying the tariffs are still in effect. Missouri now, the other announcement on redistricting. Is Elon actually back on the condition that Vance runs in 2028? Yeah, I think he is, honestly. Why wouldn't he be? Think about how the amount of money he's invested into this party. It doesn't make sense for him. He's got issues to where you know, he has mood swings, but he should be good for 2028, I would imagine. But I don't know. He's got this weird condition that it has to be Vance, which I think it's going to be Vance, but it's always something. I mean, we'll see. He's already donating to Trump again. Apparently, Trump's super PAC. At least it was reported he donated 5 million like last month or something. Tesla's stock value is built on 20 years of lies. All Elon wants to do is stay away from the FBI. I mean, I have heard people say Tesla is an extremely overvalued. Their valuation's extremely. It's very speculative, but they really do have good self-driving. If you want a self-driving car, you got to get a Tesla. I mean, so they have full control of that market, and that's an emerging. That's the new up and coming car market. So I can understand Tesla being very valuable, but Elon has probably controlled opposition. I don't know, man. The thing with Elon, dude, he's the only one that really could do it. Is by Twitter. Like that changed the game. That changed online discourse. And I just saw actually a liberal say, and they're saying it in like a really negative way because they're angry about it, but it is correct. They said the app completely changed. Yeah, it's a $5 Labor Day weekend. Let's get it. It's a $5 to read it. But thank you for that. But they're saying the app completely changed when Elon bought it, and it did 100%. I mean, it's night and day with what happened with X and what's allowed on X now, and some of the way it's evolving. I mean, certainly some of it's like, you're a right wing person, you're gonna get a lot of right wing shit, so you're probably gonna get some further right wing shit on your timeline. But it's a lot more open than it was, and you want to call him controlled opposition. I mean, he opened up X, so it is an it's definitely big in terms of like free speech, the evolving principle of free speech, which really should include the internet because of how important the internet is and the amount of people that you reach on the internet. But they were saying it doesn't include the internet, and that's how they were kind of getting around being able to censor a bunch of conservative shit online. But then when Elon took it over, it was a completely different dynamic, and it opened everything up. Your timeline is mostly just racist shit. Yeah, well, I mean, I think when you have the situation in the Western countries that you do with immigration, you're gonna get a lot of people that are, yeah, they're gonna have to push back against it. I mean, what else is there gonna be? I think that you'd see a lot less of that if the immigration situation wasn't what it was, and then they blame people for being racist and stuff. But this is just the situation. Oh, this is a fair map. Yeah, this is how you gerrymander. You just this is a big populated area, but just make it one district. See, if the Democrats were to gerrymander this, they'd split this up. They'd split it into like four different districts, all within this little area. They take population from this part, from this part. There's probably liberal areas over here, here. They would combine them. They'd get like four districts out of this area of St. Louis. But Republicans just sequester one district and just take all their population and give them only one. Have you seen the state of blue sky? Liberal made a video recently on how it's failing, and the libs in there lashed out. It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, blue sky. It's. We've had Republican equivalent. We've had what is it, Gab, the Trump Truth Social. I mean, those are all terrible. Listen, if you have an app that's because they had Threads. Remember Threads? That's another one. Well, that was like an extension of Instagram. Threads was trying to make it because they were like, well, you get to keep your followers. And that's really the thing. People don't want to leave Twitter and start a brand new account. And so Threads was like, well, if you have an Instagram, you keep your followers and your followers translate, but not all of your followers are going to be on Threads. So you're not organically building a social media app that way. So, but with Blue Sky, it's just going to be a liberal cesspool. They're all liberal. Some of them are not liberal enough, so the ones that are extremely liberal fight with the ones that aren't liberal enough, and then, oh, you don't support Palestine enough, and you don't support trans rights, and then the moderate liberals go like, yeah, but we're trying to get independence, and it's the same. I could play out the arguments. So, and it's just probably just a liberal slot fest. But not the other thing is liberals are still going to use X. They have to use X because it still has both sides. It has both sides. It's undeniable. Now you can say based on your timeline, there's going to be a bias towards one side, very likely. But do you think there will be an invasion of Venezuela? I don't even know what that what an invasion. I don't think that we're going to invade Venezuela. I mean, there might be some type of military operation in Venezuela. I don't think it's going to be classified as an invasion. There's old ladies protesting. Tulsi Gabbard fires back at Jen Psaki after she attacked Christians for praying. Yeah, this is another interesting dynamic with the liberals now coming out and like really making fun of Christianity. And I think it's kind of a two-part thing. Number one, they are mocking Christianity 100% when they talk about prayers not mattering. Because when you pray, like I could pray for $1 million or I could pray for a better life. That doesn't, it doesn't mean you're automatically going to get it. That's not the point of prayer. So they're purposefully being obtuse when they say that. They're like, the kids were literally praying and they got shot, so it doesn't work. Well, that's not how prayer works. But that's number one. And then number two, it's they're trying to force, gun restrictions, and they're really angry. They're like, this is too many times this has happened. All you say is thoughts and prayers. We must do something now. And I mean, listen, it's really a no-win thing. I think the problem is it's a very slippery slope. We just saw this with gay marriage. They just wanted to have, gay marriage be legalized. Look at where we're at now. Now, if you don't accept that 8-year-olds can transition, you're transphobic. So these things are very slippery, and a lot of the gun violence, most of the gun violence is with handguns. So if they really care about gun violence, wouldn't they go after the handguns? Why are they going after the assault rifles? Because if you end up banning certain assault rifles, most of the shootings are already done with handguns as is, so then they're going to go for handguns after that. So it's just a very slippery slope. It's more complex than saying we just have to ban a certain type of weaponry. Special military operation. Actually, I think it's an exercise. That's what Putin said. It's a military exercise. Special military exercise. That's a way to word it. Lisa Cook will be allowed to remain at her position while filing a legal challenge. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is what it is. Trump just wants this woman to be fired. He conjures up something, and we'll see if this ends up going through. I'm not sure this is going to go through for Trump. Maybe if you get a favorable judge or something, it goes through. I don't know what she did. They tried to get her for. I mean, it's just like getting Powell for a renovation. That's not the real reason they want him out. Well, there's a lot of stuff here. I was gonna go. Oh, here it is.
Back what he stole from us, took it back, took back
our dignity,
took it back.
back our humanity.
Well, we
went down to the rich man's house and we took back what he stole from us.
took it back.
I just can't do it with this. I don't know. I guess it's some type of protest. It's like the 900th protest or something. People are like 300 years old. Those people are way older than Trump. Those people have like 2 decades on Trump. Do you support Russia or Ukraine? I don't know, man. I don't want to give a bullshit answer. But it's really not our business. I mean, it's a European affair. It really is a European situation because they had control of Ukraine. Now they don't anymore. Now they want it back. So Europe can figure it out. I know it's not a good answer, but I mean, obviously, I would have to, if you're the president, you would have to make a decision on. And I guess you don't want Russia becoming a stronger adversary. Lisa Cook put her name as the primary resident on 2 separate residences in 2 separate states, which is technically the definition of mortgage fraud. She's being investigated. Yeah, but a lot of this is them just trying to find something because Trump doesn't want her in that position. I mean, whether or not there's, that's probably that's a very loose thing there in terms of whatever she did. They're just trying to find a reason to get her out. That's what I'm saying. Did you see the UK troops training? They were marching behind a tank like they haven't learned anything from the drone warfare. I didn't see that, but I mean, that could need context. That might just be them doing it in an off situation to march or something. I don't know. If you were Putin, what would you tell the Russian army to do? Well, I don't know what their strategic I don't know what they want to accomplish. I don't know where the health of the Russian army is. That depends on the health of their army, whether or not to continue invading. It's very complicated because if you really launch a massive offensive now, I mean, you're risking really angering those NATO countries, and that has to be a calculation. So I don't know how. I think it has to end with the Donbass to me. That seems like a realistic way to get out of this situation. Now, I don't know if it ends the conflict in general, but maybe for at least a few years, or maybe, under Trump's administration. Because, like, what is Russia planning on doing? They're planning on just basically absorbing the entire country in like a 10 years window. Like, I'm just trying to understand how this plays out, because they're very slowly acquiring, very, very slowly. Like, they just had an offensive, because now it's going to be the winter. They're not going to really be able to move much with the colder temperatures. So they've got like 19% of the country, 20%, whatever it is. It's been coming up on 4 years, right? Yeah, coming up on 4 years. So I don't know what their plan is exactly. I guess they're just waiting out Ukraine. Maybe they think if they wait another year or two, Ukraine will be so diminished, they're going to have no leverage, and Russia will be able to negotiate an even. But I don't understand what happens to Ukraine, because it's like you're not going to take over all of Ukraine. I don't think they can. Liking your other crypto channel, yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thoughts on Trump considering bringing 600K Chinese students on visas, and his response saying they wouldn't do so? Well, I believe that they're keeping the policy as is. They're not bringing in more, but they're also not bringing in less. So whatever the policy, the original thought was that Trump was going to not allow the Chinese students in, and it was potentially a negotiating tactic during the tariff situation. And the tariff situation got worked out, so now supposedly, well, it actually hasn't gotten worked out. They're still finalizing a deal. But they've delayed the tariffs on each country, the United States on China, China on the United States. And so the question is, I mean, I think it's terrible. I think it's completely anti-American. I don't even know what American means anymore with some of these people, but I think it's anti whatever a country is. And native born people should be going to Harvard. And look, if you bring some in, you bring some in, but a lot of it, they're like, oh, they pay their own tuition, so it makes all these schools money, and then it's trickle down effect, and it allows the state schools to stay in business because they get money, because Harvard now has more money because of all the Chinese students paying their own tuition. I'm guessing that the Chinese government probably pays a lot of these kids' tuition, honestly. I mean, do we really want to deal with that? I mean, if these Chinese kids are really good at school, they can study at Guangdong University. We don't want them studying at Harvard. You've seen a few of you've seen a few of my non-stream videos pop up on YouTube main screen. You think they're non-stream? It doesn't seem like chat is there, but they show up. Well, that's dependent on what you watch. If my videos are showing up, it's very easy to tell if it's a stream or not. If it's an hour long or 2 hours long, it's a stream. If it's 14 minutes long, it's a video. I very rarely will have a video that's longer than like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. The only things that are longer than 20 or 30 minutes are streams. Normally, it's like 2 hours, hour 45, 2 hours. Why does Trump want to keep us tied down with China? Well, I would imagine there might have been a background deal with the foreign students coming. Probably some type of trade situation, maybe an agreement to a certain tariff barometer if the kids are still able to come to the Ivy League schools, the good schools in the United States. I mean, I don't know what the situation is. You know, they're trying to swing it like, well, Harvard needs the money. If they don't get the money from the Chinese kids and from the foreign students, then it's going to be a bad. You know, they'll still survive, but it's the schools beneath them that will fail. They're trying to make it like a native argument, and we're doing this for America, things like that. I don't know the options in terms of that being legitimate. I mean, there's got to be other ways to keep these schools afloat without throwing a bunch of Chinese students into our most prestigious institutions and giving them the best education, and then they go back home. Yeah, I don't think that really sounds like a good deal for us. I mean, yeah, we get their tuition money, but average 4-year old in China is smarter than a Harvard grad. Yeah, that narrative is like, yeah, East Asians tend to be smarter, but you know, there's an innovation problem with the Chinese. There really is. I think a lot of that smarts is a bit overrated when you look at their country and where it is in their economic system. College is dependent on what you want to study, your drive, and but yeah, I mean, in a lot of cases, it's a big problem. The cost of it is insane compared to the value of the degree. But at this point, I mean, I don't even know what to tell kids. I mean, pretty much all the women go to college. That's why they have insane amounts of debt. The men have debt too, but not as much. Russians will keep the war going for 10 more years if they have to. They want Europe to get tired of funding it. They'll keep funneling troops from the third world countries. Yeah, no, it is very interesting that they're doing that. I mean, that's like you got to kind of feel for Ukraine. It's like you're fighting troops from fucking North Korea now. Like they already have a bigger military than you and a larger economy. I'm talking about Russia. Now they're getting troops from fucking North Korea. I'd be pretty pissed about that. And it's like NATO can't do anything because what is a NATO country going to be involved in now? Now it becomes a global war. So it has got to be very annoying. What's going on with SPX 2.0? Dude, you know what it is. It's there's other narrative like SPX coins out there, and I don't know, man. It's like a dev issue, I think. The devs got to be more active. Blue collar workers making more money than college graduates find it. Yeah, but I mean, you do that's going to be some significant strain on your body, blue collar. I mean, it's certainly you certainly can make a lot of money because they're in high demand right now, though. I will agree with that. But you have to think about, longevity, things like that. I'm sure China has great institutions. I don't doubt it. That I agree with you. I think they should attend their own prestigious university. They're very smart people. On average, East Asians, they're they do have the highest intelligence. Missouri redistricting in. Trump has placed a statue of George Washington in the Oval Office. It's a good looking statue. Yeah, there's a lot of decor in the Oval Office now. That's for sure. It's really. They say, "Oh, it's tacky. It's fake. Looks like fake gold and stuff." And it's an interesting design style. They lack creativity. Well, I think the economic system kind of hurts. It stifles innovation when they have that system. You know, they move to a more mixed, is what you call it, economy, but it's still a very, you want to be rich in China, you got to know normally you got to know government officials. They do allow billionaires now, because they used to, it used to be more heavily communist. I think in 78 they switched. Shows you how bad communism is. The Communist Party has to become less communist. Joining late, thoughts on the tariff ruling? Thank you, man. I don't think it's going to hold up, especially this late in the game. I mean, these tariffs have been in effect now and we've got negotiations ongoing with China still with tariffs. So this ruling is not going to hold up at all. There's no way. I don't know if it has to go to the Supreme Court or what. Remember, there was something, the exact same thing happened, I think, like 2 months ago, where they ruled the tariffs unconstitutional, or they said Trump didn't have the authority to do it. Normally, these things are just them saying Trump doesn't have Trump is acting like a dictator. He shouldn't have this amount of authority on the economic situation. And, you use the Supreme Court to shoot it down. If it's a 6-3 Supreme Court and it's something like this, they should shoot it down. Whatever happened to that billionaire Jack Ma? Yeah, they disappeared him, is what they did. Yeah, they disappeared him, unfortunately. Basically, American students should be relegated to lower performing schools in order to prop them up, while our geopolitical foe takes spots at our top universities that could be filtered. Yeah, no, exactly. And also, a lot of them are gathering intelligence in the U.S. Not all of them, but some of them are. If you've got that many of them, they're going to be gathering some of them are going to be gathering intelligence. But it's just like, it's waste. I mean, we've got these great universities, and they're not for American students. It's I'd have to see the numbers in terms of how many, but how many foreigners are actually part of the classes. What can we citizens do about mass immigration? Well, I don't think there's a ton you can do right now. It's I think it would have been voted. Trump is certainly better in terms of stymieing the mass immigration, and so it'd be more of a Republican. Be more of a you'd have to keep voting Republican, but I'm not even sure if the current Republican Party is. I don't think they're close to being where they need to be in terms of that, but they'd be closer to your.
I steal popular names for likes. Tip $5 through Super Chat. That case from months ago is this same case. Was originally ruled at a lower level, and now ruled in the appeals. Needs to hit Supreme Court now.
Okay, so it's the same case, and yeah, hopefully the Supreme Court will rule properly on that, because imagine that situation. That's Trump's economic policy that's been in effect now for months.
Kitchline tip $9.99 through Super Chat. Not to put you on the spot, but very curious your full thoughts on Israel/Gaza situation. No judgment, just curious how DG would address it.
Well, I mean, that's that with the U.S. government and where we're at with Israel, I think a lot of it is there's a lot of lobbying force behind Israel. I'm not sure really the actual true feelings on how our government would address it, because I think there is some infiltration obviously from Israel. You look at, I mean, Israel has lost the I think, at least in terms of the propaganda war, they've certainly lost it. Me personally, I mean, I mean, I'd rather the U.S. get out of Israel and Gaza, get out of the situation entirely, stop funding, because we can say we don't want to talk about it, or it's not our business, but I mean, we're funding the hell out of Israel, so it becomes a problem. So I mean, I would just stop the funding. I know Israel's going to say, well, all these Arab countries are going to try and destroy us. I mean, a lot of them are already really weak in the Middle Eastern area, anyways. So I think that'd probably be for the best for the United States. But you know, you get into biblical arguments as well about protecting that. But I don't think Judaism is, you know, you can kind of relate it to Christianity, but it certainly is very different beliefs. Trump has canceled nearly 700 million federal funds for 12 offshore windmill projects, nearly 500 million, which are Gavin Newsom's California. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's got to be some heavy lobbying or something for Trump to be this against wind energy. You know, wind. I think solar is a little bit better than wind, but there's a huge lobbying force for fossil fuels in the Republican Party, I believe. I think that has to be a lot of this, because this is an obsession. Thanks for the interesting answer. Ain't no problem, man. Wind, solar is trash. I think you're just getting propaganda, honestly. I mean, you know, you could argue in certain climates, definitely wind and solar is trash for sure, but you just got to utilize the right climate. New Testament becomes nearly void with it. Yeah, but they believe the Old Testament, the New Testament doesn't replace the Old Testament. That's a direct, you know, contradiction of what Christianity is. Solar consumes a lot of real estate. Yeah, but I mean, the amount of the United States, I mean, that's not even real estate right there. That's the ocean. But the amount of the United States that's open, I mean, it makes it. Listen, there's a reason China is building the world's biggest solar panel farms. I mean, solar in areas and climates, it does work. I mean, it's just using the sun. I mean, we got to be able to use the sun. The sun is like, if we could harness. This is what I was. You hear about these things. If we could harness just 1 second of all of the sun's energy that it gives off, just 1 second of the energy, I think we could have enough electricity for like it's like millions of years or something. I mean, that just shows you how strong the sun is. The sun is an amazing star, and I think it needs to be utilized, you know, by humans. It's part of evolution, part of innovation for humans.
Alexis Jun tipped $5 through Super Chat. Thoughts on more and more younger people, even those on the right, becoming more anti-Israel? Is anti-Israel the next big political movement?
Well, I think it's important to understand right now it's very, very popular for young people to be anti-Israel because the conversation with Israel and Palestine has moved to Israel is committing a genocide. Israel's trying to annex territory. Israel doesn't care. They've lost. I mean, Netanyahu was saying it. He was saying he's basically saying they need censorship because of how bad it's gotten. Remember, Netanyahu couldn't even go on that Nelk podcast without there being this just insane uproar with young people. So right now it's insanely popular. You know, this is something that was not popular previous to the war between Hamas and Israel. So I just, in terms of like politics, I mean, you would have to think it stays popular just because of the amount of Israel involvement with AIPAC and things like that. But I do think it probably dies down a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen with between Israel Palestine, but it seems like they're going to you know, exile or eject the Palestinians out of Gaza, at least the Strip. and I don't know what happens there. I think Israel knows the public opinion is so bad. I think Israel's gonna get rid of Netanyahu after this is all done and say we've repaired our public image, and that's what they're gonna try and use, honestly. So the problem is Israel blew up Hamas until it can't do shit. Now it's difficult for them to justify it. Yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, you want to say that, obviously it's not seen as a fair fight at this point. It's just seen as and also Israel is still getting funded by the United States. But it is, you put into context the amount of money we're sending Israel. I don't want to say it's overblown, but just in terms of the Ukrainians, they've gotten a ridiculous amount of money. Because we were sending Israel, it's a new deal with Biden. It was with Obama. It was $4 billion a year, and then we sent them more on top of it because of their war with Palestine. But with Ukraine, I mean, it's like 150, 160 billion. Like, we sent Ukraine, in comparison to the previous like foreign funding, it's a ridiculous amount of money in a very short amount of time. Why hasn't Trump ended the Gaza war? Because I don't think Israel doesn't want it ended right now. With Israel, it seems like every time peace seems possible, or with Israel ramps up the offensives. But I don't even know what peace is. I mean, the entire strip is obliterated. I mean, what is peace? It's for Israel. It's getting those people out of that region. So is that peace for them? I don't even know how a peace deal would work with that. I mean, unless Israel says, "All right, you can stay," but then who rebuilds it for the Palestinians? I mean, Putin is an asshole. We don't want him invading Europe because eventually he gets through it 200 years from now. Then it becomes our problem. What do you mean 200 years from now? It's irrelevant 200 years from now for us, but I don't know. I think a lot of that is kind of ridiculous. Russia's GDP is lower than Canada's. I think people kind of overblow Russia's, status. I mean, they have the most natural resources out of any country, but I think you look at their military technology, it's lacking compared to the other adversaries. You probably went over it, but is Trump screwed on the judge over the tariffs? No, 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 no. That's gonna go away. Let it go to the Supreme Court. I guess that's the same ruling. So that was a ruling that came out 2 months ago. So yeah, I don't think that's a big problem, honestly. Especially now with where we're at with the tariffs. The tariffs have been in effect for months, and the tariffs really got calmed down, anyways. They've been calmed down. A lot of the tariffs are like a low 10 to 15% on these countries, and a lot of it's not even caused inflation. So what is the issue? I'm not even sure what the issue is with it. You meant more of a ceasefire, not permanent peace. Yeah, I know, but imagine like the ceasefires in the Middle East. You can't even celebrate them. It's like, what is it gonna last for a week? Issue is all money taxed from U.S. companies. Well, the companies are they're eating it, and their margins, I guess, are good enough for them to be able to eat it. Go look at liberal. I've seen liberal articles that have admitted they're eating it. The companies have to, because competition. So if they're going to continue eating it, it's not a problem. Trump's going to enact it, and they had higher margins. They have a little bit lower margins now. You gonna watch Texas Ohio State? Yeah, Atlanta Fed. Q3 GDP has surged to plus 3.5% after the data was revealed. Yeah, wow. I mean, we'll see if this Atlanta Fed is right. They tend to be pretty hit or miss, but they were pretty on par last quarter. Blue chip consensus, man, they had GDP only going up by like 0.8%. But that was early on in the quarter. Do you think Trump will pardon Edward Snowden? The Snowden thing seems very touchy with the intelligence. I think there's probably a lot of people that it's like it can't happen under any circumstances. I'm not sure. Snowden said he didn't even want to come back to the United States. You know, he's got a weird thing now where it's this, you know, he's lived in Russia for so long, and now it's just an awkward situation with Snowden. So I don't know. You know, Trump didn't do it back his first time. Today's the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Yeah, and it is that time about. Normally we get one bad hurricane in early September. Hopefully it doesn't happen this year, but if you were elected president, would you still try and go on dates? Well, if you're elected president, you know, you're going to have a wife. Anyone who's been elected president has a wife. I don't know if that's true. Worst part of living in Florida? Yeah. No, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. Seems like North Carolina always gets one, or like they get a scare at least. Remember, Sandy was crazy for us because Sandy, the rains from hurricanes, man, we got torrential downpour, and it was like inland wind, even coming into Ohio from Sandy. Sandy had a crazy path. Isn't there something about the later in the hurricane season, the higher they tend to be? Because Sandy would have been November. Yeah, Sandy was a different level for like the northeastern. Do you get high humidity? Recently, no, but we normally really get bad humidity in June and July and early August. We get really bad humidity. We had really bad humidity this year. It was miserable. James Buchanan was single his whole life. His niece acted as first lady. Yeah, but I wonder nowadays if that maybe it would. I don't know. Maybe that could fly. Seems unlikely, but just because we've always had first ladies. Yeah, this is the GDP estimate. So obviously they were estimating it around 1% growth, a little bit less, and now the new estimate is around 3.5%. So we'll see what it ends up being. But listen, this is great because they were saying there was going to be maybe problems Q3 because of the tariffs, but I guess not. Newsom clip.
In LA, do you think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that. Everybody knows what's at stake. So we have to put a stake in the ground and do things differently.
What, ICE is going to show up and arrest people for illegally voting? I don't know. I think it's just fear-mongering.
Alexis Jun tipped $5 through Super Chat. How hard is it for you to find a ginger girlfriend? Race mixing will ruin your genes and over 500-year history.
Well, I don't plan on race mixing, but no, I don't need a ginger girlfriend to keep ginger hair going. I need a Caucasian girl, that's it. That's how the genes work. But I mean, yeah, it's probably pretty challenging for a ginger girl specifically. That's very small, but it's that's not how hair is passed. It's based on race. Yeah, I've seen this lady before. She's some liberal. Where was that one clip of that crazy liberal woman who was saying that something ridiculous about Trump on CNN? I think it was on here. It's just this image with Rubio and the Palestine flag. Marco Rubio becomes pro-Palestine. Yeah, that's not happening.
And you know what? There's going to be a lot more of that coming up. You know, especially at these religious areas, you know, hey, we've had enough of your kind coming after public schools, right? It's about time, yeah, churches and Catholic schools and religious schools.
Like, he has to have the gay pride flag behind him, like, for emphasis, I guess. I don't know.
It's about time they get their turn. That's what I think. That's what I think. I'm just going to sit back and watch people do it. And I'm going to fucking laugh. I'm laughing about yesterday. You guys want to laugh about us? We're going to laugh about you.
So he's laughing about kids dying. It's definitely a very mature 55-year-old. Dude, where is that clip? This is so much posting. I can't find it. You know, I think it was on I think I had commented on it. So I just have to find it through here.
Up cops on January 6th. Meanwhile, this guy, this should be the lead story, is clearly suffering from massive mental decline. He is out of his mind.
Like Biden.
With all of the show and tell procedures that go on in the Oval Office. 2 days ago, he gave 3 press conferences in a row. And if you don't think he has dementia, let's just discuss the time that when he was on the campaign trail that he tried to perform oral sex on a microphone. If Joe Biden did this,
I hope this is what Democrats do next year.
ER.
If this is the Democratic strategy, congratulations, America. You've already reelected Republican majorities as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, because Trump's approval is in the
listen
low
to this
30s. It's in the low 30s.
That's completely false. Trump's approval is not in the low 30s. Composite, it's like 44%.
Listen to this.
Coming up next for us.
Up cop.
Bro, what happened to this chat? Dude, I hadn't looked at this chat in a little while. Trump is currently just like Biden. Now you're trolling. You're trying to get me angry. It's not going to work, Benjamin. Benjamin, you will not troll me. You're rage baiting me. I can respect it. He gave 3 press conferences. She said he gave the microphone a blowjob or something, like as a joke or something. I don't know. It's like this. She's trying to be funny or something. It's like, lady, you're on CNN. Will the courts just stop against the tariffs? Yeah, no, it's going to have to go to the Supreme Court. Let it go to the Supreme Court. Go ahead and Trump's going to have to appeal. It'll take a month for it to go through. Take a month for it to go through. So let it be appealed. I don't know. The tariffs, which, the tariffs are already in place. There's no reversing this. Trump's within his authority. Trump, what he wants, it's what's going to happen. I mean, this is just how it is. When you've got a leader like Trump, some things I don't agree with, but listen, when you have, it's an economic strategy. He was elected. This is democracy. This is what democracy looks like. We elected him. He's enacting his policy. So you're not going to get some bullshit liberal judge that was elected via DEI under Biden to tell us that, no, it's not going to work. That's not how U.S. politics work. We elect people democratically. We don't elect judges to rule on who we want running the country and who gets jurisdiction, and that's just not the way it works. I'm sorry. We've got a Supreme Court. Supreme Court 6-3. It should be good. You must protect your ginger. I've been seeing you, man. I'm not. Trust me. I plan to marry within my race. Pam Bondi news. Well, let's take a look and see what this is. Oh, it was pinned. Yeah, that is something that you should pin.
Get out of the way, because we're going to do it.
Don't expect the mayor to say that's his plan. Joining me now
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
And then Brandon Johnson is like, well, technically, our 40% homicide rate needs to stay, and you're the racist for trying to stop our 40% homicide rate.
We're going to do it.
Don't expect the mayor to say that's his plan. Joining me now is that Chicago Mayor, Brandon Johnson. Mayor Johnson, thank you for being here with me. Let me just...
What do you plan on continuing the crime? Please, man, gingers are dying. Don't race mix. No, I hear you. I don't plan to race mix. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I get it.
Start by getting your reaction to what Tom Homan just said there this morning.
Well, thank you and good evening. Happy Labor Day weekend, Jen. Look, the city of Chicago is a remarkable place, right? It is the soul of America.
We need to keep the crime up,
and
though.
A city that was established by a Haitian immigrant and a Potawatomi woman, a city that was built on the working class values. And we have been a city for a very long time that has protected the interests of working people. And we're certainly not going to back down, cower, break, or be intimidated by these acts of tyranny. Clearly, the federal government, the president of the United States of America, is looking to engender chaos and turmoil across this country. And in the city of Chicago, we're not going to stand for it.
Trump isn't going into Chicago. You can tell because his tweets are, Pritzker should invite me in. Chicago, no go. I bet you $50 the National Guard doesn't go to Chicago. No, but Hegseth said that they've already confirmed they're going to Chicago. I'll bet you, what cryptocurrencies do you have? We can bet some type of crypto, and it's easier to send that way. What meme coins do you have? Let me ask that. Leave our violent crime rates alone. Yeah, well, now they're like, well, what about Republican states? Well, it's liberal, diverse cities, liberal black cities that have the high crime in conservative states. They think it's a gotcha. I'll be right back.
How ridiculous these 3.5 hour-long North Korean-style cabinet meetings are.
Why was that ridiculous? You can't
Greg,
just say
if I
ridiculous and
came
not say why.
Okay, if I came to a meeting, if your team for Gutfeld sat around, right?
Squirtle Turtle tip $5 through Super Chat. Centrist watcher here. Please inform me, why is race mixing bad? If you met the perfect woman for you, but she's black, you would hate her?
My point is, if you watch that, you learned stuff about what was going in the White House in 3.5 hours that you never would, but you're mad because they're flattering him.
I'm not mad. I'm saying that it is a particular style that most people would say most likely resembles things that go on in Russia, North Korea, or China, not in a Western democracy.
The style.
Okay. No, also the substance
but God
of
forbid
it.
the style.
All right. I also need to say about this idea that Gavin Newsom suddenly cares about crime because of Donald Trump and he's imitating him. This partnership with California Highway Patrol is from 2023. So from the Biden era, it was a
Like, why am I sweating right now? Why am I sweating? Thank you for the donation. Centrist Roger here. Please inform me, why is race mixing bad? If you met the perfect woman for you, but she's black, would you hate her? Well, it's actually just, there's no meaning like that. It's just having a preference in terms of dating. You want to date within your race because in terms of your offspring, it would be more, genetically appealing. You know, if it becomes a problem if especially for someone like me with red hair, you know, if I want my kids to have red hair, it's a big issue. But I mean, I think race mixing is just, it's going to be a byproduct of the amount of immigration we have. Obviously, there's going to be more race mixing because there's more people from different cultures, different races here. So, but yeah, I don't I think culturally, I would rather date someone within my race personally. Turn on your AC. Yeah, it's on, man. It's just complete. It's this room. It's this maybe I need an open room. I need a bigger open room, but then there'll be more of an echo. It's like I already have an echo in this room. The sound quality is not great. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who Pam Bondi fired. Where is it? She fired someone in reaction to this? Oh my god. Oh, guys, this is what we're so worried about. Oh, this is something else. This is immigration. I thought this was the judge that blocked the I thought this is the judge that blocked the tariff. Need to teach young men and women the dangers of race mixing. Yeah, I think I think, you know, within your own races, there's gonna be a higher chance of it being successful, the relationship being successful. Fires DOJ employee who gave middle finger to National Guard member. Who is this fossil of a woman? It's like the one judge lady who was harboring the illegal under her desk. Remember that? You don't condone race mixing, but you also really don't like the authoritarian busybodies who attack people for being in mixed relationships. Well, it depends who it depends your politics, depends what you preach. Because if you preach certain things and then you're in a interracial relationship, it tends to be, it's like you're not practicing what you preach. It depends what your politics are, I guess, in terms of the criticism. But in general, I mean, you said Liquid Death was mid yesterday, but I am here to tell you it's the best water you ever tasted. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. Don't do this to yourself. Don't start gassing up water. Don't start gassing up water that costs $3 a can. You know, it's expensive too. You with Granny? Well, yeah, but Granny's a big liberal. Granny is angry. It's expensive, that's why it tastes good. Tastes like water, man. Listen, I can understand water. I can understand water tasting better in a can. So I understand that. But why the markup? Because there's 99-cent cans of other drinks and things like that. I used to love the Monster Energy. I don't think I could drink it now. You know, I suffered a cognitive situation, and I've tried to beat off caffeine. I'm actually back on caffeine a little bit, but just maybe like 24 milligrams a day, maybe like 35 at the most, depending on 300. I don't think I could handle 300. Because it is a drug. Caffeine is a drug. People don't realize that. It is a drug. Yeah, I've had Liquid Death. I had to get it once because I was like, well, is it really good? But what a markup for that. What about the nicotine pouches? I never had any of that. I don't even know like the Zyn and nicotine. I never had any of that. I'm not interested. I'm not someone that does that, man. I'm not someone that does that. I just don't do it. I had a situation, and this is with weed, and I'm just not interested. My body does not react. Maybe if I smoke weed, I think I'd be all right. And I have smoked weed before, but I don't think it didn't really do much. But my body is a chemical composition does not go well with edibles at all. It's a digestion thing, and ugh. Favorite car? I'm not a big car person, man. I'm getting a new car, but I'm just gonna get this new car, and then that's gonna be it. I'm just gonna get a nice car. It'll be presentable, and I'm good. I'm good with just a nice car. I don't need any sports car or anything like that. It just because I've had the same car for 7, 8 years, so it's about time I get a new one. But I'm not a big car person. Imagine doing a water tier list. I'm sure yeah, there's probably a lot of people do water tier lists. This Good and Gather is not that good, but it wets the whistle. There's an amazing Caucasian saying, wets the whistle. You spending all your crypto savings? No. No, dude, I need to make some serious money in crypto because I've got insurance stuff, and there's all this shit now with this insurance with my age, and it's like, just give me some fucking insurance. I have to get a new insurance plan. Healthcare. And so I'm like, I just want to get like a $300 a month plan. Just give me a $300 because I have a situation that's very favorable because we have a personal doctor and it's a private practice. But then I need different. I'm not fully covered now, so I need different insurance on top of it. But If I move, then it becomes an issue with my doctor, a big problem, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Obamacare. Dude, I don't even come close to that. You got to make like under 30K or something. You got to make like under 50K or yeah, that's not going to happen for me. The revenue's way too high. You said you're Gen X. Why is dating hard for Gen Zs? Well, it's just the internet. It's online. It's women with ridiculously high standards. Women want the same 5% of guys. Guys are antisocial. We're all becoming more antisocial because we grew up online. The modern society does not necessarily promote situations in which men and women would meet organically. God, I sound like a freaking queer dating coach or something saying this, but that's the stuff. That's why. If you invest in Nasdaq 420, will it give you at least a 5x? Yeah, not financial advice. You'll do well with Nasdaq for sure. You'll do well with Nasdaq. You're buying at a good time. You're buying at a good time. You're buying when it's down. Yeah, I'm just gonna get like $350. I just need $100 ER visits. You know, that's the thing with the United States. The United States has great healthcare. It's just outrageous the prices if you're not covered. That's kind of the thing with the United States. That's what the U.S. is known for. Fast, it's very good, but it's just the prices are just not realistic. So you have to have insurance. Time to get back on the DG2 grind. Ha. I do remember DG2, yeah. I don't know, I just haven't been playing zombies recently, that's why. Well, I want to get back. I want to do some in real life stuff or something because I feel like my channel's robotic. I feel like it's just the same fucking videos and I don't know.
The John Sick tipped $5 through Super Chat. Met my wife online. Been married 8 years. Not all online dating has to be just meaningless hookups.
Let me respond to that in a second.
Alexis John tipped $5 through Super Chat. As a Zoomer, what age will you allow your kids to play online games? And when will they have their first phone?
All right, well, let me answer this other one first. You met your wife online 8 years. Dude, the dating scene has online, the dating scene has changed even within the last 5 years with how picky women have gotten within the last 5 years, let alone whenever you met your wife, was it 2013, 2014? It was a lot easier. Trust me, because you could tell. So I think in general, the women have gotten more selective, even within the past 5 to 6 years. Rather than when you met your wife. I mean, it's certainly when you look at online dating, and I tell guys not to do it, but I also say I understand why they do because it's like 60% of relationships are online. It's ridiculous. It's over half. It's over half of relationships start online. Whether it's now Instagram is like a dating app, but it's Instagram. It's obviously all the Bumbles and stuff and the Tinders, and so look, I think it's a different landscape now. As a Zoomer, what age will you allow your kids to play online games? And when will they have their first phone? Well, I mean, I think that we would have to look at some studies and really diagnose the pros and cons. I mean, the kids are going to demand phones because the friends are going to have them, so it becomes an issue. We're the strict parents and stuff, and I got my first phone when I was around 13, I think. But that was when we had the culture of you need to grow up without a phone. Now kids are getting phones when they're 9 or 10. So hopefully, maybe, I think you should be a teenager, I think. But I don't think, I mean, with how it is now, I think you're gonna be seen as kind of you're gonna be seen as a strict parent. but we'd have to see. There's probably going to be more studies and stuff like that. So hopefully there's more of a culture to where the phones are not, the phones are just used as a crutch, as basically a babysitter, and that, I think that needs to change because it's bad for children. But oh my goodness, dude, it's just a bunch of people telling me to check different accounts.
Oh my god.
It was a little water landing. Remember the movie Life? That's actually a decent movie. Life, with the alien thing when it landed on Earth.
This upcoming week, we have actually many of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein coming to Capitol Hill. We're meeting with them. They're talking to lawmakers. We're going to highlight their stories. We've got to center these victims. And I'll just say one other piece of news that actually just developed in the last couple hours is we finally got word from the Epstein estate. They're going to be providing the actual Epstein book, that famous book where that note that Donald Trump drew and doodled to Jeffrey Epstein, his so-called best friend of 10 to 15 years. The Epstein estate is actually going to now get us that book and a bunch of other documents that they have that's actually not been reported yet, reporting it here for the first time. We're going to get those documents, as we understand it now, on September the 8th. And so that will continue our investigation. And again, we ask the question, where are the rest of the documents? What is Pam Bondi hiding? What is Donald Trump hiding? End the cover-up. Let's get to the truth.
What were the Democrats hiding for 4 years? I agree. Spirit Airlines files for bankruptcy a second time. Spirit that's not a good airline. That is not a good airline at all. Yeah, the rise of antidepressants within women it's frightening. It's millennial, it's just Gen Z. Bro, come on. What do you mean by high standards? Well, it's based on the amount of the amount of matches they get, and they tend to bat out of their league a lot, and they kind of equate that into thinking they can get in relationships with higher value men, and so they give themselves unrealistic expectations. That's basically what it is. Yeah, that's not necessarily what that dude did. I mean, come on, dude. It's a kid. Like, have some decor. That's a weird story. The mother is not cooperating at all, apparently. So, we'll have to see what happens with this situation. Hopefully they're related. I don't think so. Based on how awkward it was after, no, I highly doubt it. Because it was really awkward. Or that was great acting. Maybe it was great acting. I don't know. It's like the Wendy's logo and Eli Manning combined. Yeah, it does look like Eli Manning. A little bit. Man, what is that hair though? Penn State hasn't won a conference title in 38 years. Holy. I didn't realize that. My family bought a cow once, or it was half a cow or something, and you have to have a specific, you have to buy an extra freezer for it. It was an interesting thing. I think that freezer, yeah, that freezer got thrown away or something. Favorite NFL team? Uh, I mean the Browns, I guess. I'm a Browns fan. But I don't know, I haven't watched the NFL as much, as I used to when I was younger. Who do you have winning, Notre Dame or Miami? Notre Dame. You ever gotten an autograph from someone? When I was younger, a few Indians players, I got autographs from. Thoughts on Joe Flacco? He's a veteran. I'm surprised he's still in the NFL at this point. I really am. I don't know. He's just he shouldn't be a starter, but they're not trying to be, they're not contenders this year, obviously. When is the drawing for the Browns watch along? That's a punishment for me. Imagine how awkward that would be. That's an awkward situation. You get in something like that where you have a watch along with a fan on a shitty Browns game. That's some good content. Imagine if liberals try to do the diagram but with insects, crickets for protein instead of beef. Yeah, I mean, I've never been. People do feel guilty when you eat eating meat and stuff like that. I don't know. I've never gotten to that point because I do care about animals, but there are a lot of people that are really to the point to where they just can't touch it. But I eat a lot of chicken. I don't eat much steak. I used to have a little bit more. Steak is like it's like maybe once a month or something, once every 2 months. You will instantly become mainstream once you interview Barron. Yeah, actually, I would become mainstream. Like, if I interviewed someone like Barron Trump, I would immediately become. Because how would people not be able to play the clips from that? That would have to become mainstream at that point. Do you know anyone making a living off fantasy football? Dude, that's not even possible. You'd have to be in like 1,000 leagues. Because the fantasy football, they only pay. Or if you're talking about like weekly betting or something, I don't know. That seems like very challenging. Anything sports betting is very challenging. Very challenging to make money off of that. You believe in leagues? Do you mean physically or personality wise, wanting to date a woman more physically attractive than me, going for someone in my league? You drool over Russian gals? Well, it depends where you're at. There's probably not a lot of Russian girls. Or you're in a U.S. city. Yeah, it's physical. It's mainly physical attraction. I mean, you know, the girl can't be. I mean, I think it's a combination of both, but the first thing has got to be physical. There has to be physical attraction, or from the man, from both sides, I think, but mainly from the man. There's just not an incentive to pursue if there's not significant physical attraction, unless you're very desperate. Do you recommend leaving big cities? I don't know. Do you have a job in a big city? Depends. But I'm not a big fan of big cities, but I understand why people like them because I've been to big cities and they can be fun, but it's certainly not my thing. I want to have land ownership too, not like a crazy amount of land or anything like that, but I want to have like at least like a few acres or like 1 acre or something. Just have a house and have an actual yard and shit like that. I mean, your yard is like concrete when you live in a city. It's terrible. I don't know how people have dogs in big cities. I think that's a problem. Unless the dog's very small. But you go to the dog park once a day, like maybe some breeds can do it. Rural is the best. I don't think I could do rural. I would it would definitely be like a spread out suburban type, but pretty spread out. But it would have to be semi close to a decently sized city, not a big city though. Small town with zero diversity. Yeah, you know, there's a you can look up it's called census dots. Shows racial demographic in areas. I think it's based off the 2020 census. Thoughts on big cities with lots of suburbs? You live in Orlando, and most people who work in the city don't really live in the city, but surrounding areas. Oh yeah, that's like Atlanta. That's many. So the problem is when you do that, depending on the city, it's hard to commute into the city. It takes fucking forever. But yeah, that's a common thing. People live just on the outskirts in different suburbs. That's where a lot of the expensive suburbs. Look at the suburbs surrounding Nashville. How expensive that area has become. You know, Texas is so much cheaper than Nashville. If you look at some of these home prices, it's crazy. Based off the 2020 census, so basically not accurate. Well, I mean, there are inaccuracies in the 2020 census, but generally it's going to be mainly pretty accurate. Bill Clinton, health wise, is not. Yeah, I've seen Bill Clinton. I mean, he's obviously old, but Bill Clinton, I don't. Isn't he Trump's age though? Like he's so he might maybe not be aging as well. Would you cut family off for opposing political views under 30? Yeah, you can't cut family off, man. But I mean, what this is basically is and this is why Democrats think they're justified to murder Trump because they think that Trump is an existential threat. So if you support Trump, you know, you support basically like I don't like fascism and murdering people and things like that. I think it's a very like seventh grade way to look at it, honestly. Like, oh, you wouldn't talk to somebody that doesn't agree with you because they're really bad and really evil. I don't know. It's just like really immature. That's what I think. If you had the money to purchase a property right now, would it be nearby your town or somewhere else in Ohio? Maybe different state. Yeah, it'd be in a different state. It'd be in a different state probably. But I don't know. I wouldn't purchase an area right now. I don't think, although I don't know. Yeah, I'm not in the position to either. I mean, technically I could, but there's you know, at my age, I don't see a reason to do it. I think after the next 5 or 6 months, it could be different. We'll have to see where my portfolios are. Do you think Vance is going to go to the Ohio State game? Is there a rumor that he is? Or no? I don't know. It's a college game. But Vance has talked about Ohio State. He went to Ohio State. You're in Maine, 960 square foot. Damn, 960 square foot. That is a small home for sure. 960. 3 acres, 245K. Damn. Well, 3 acres, but still. 245K. That'd be like I feel like that'd be like 150 7 years ago. 150K. I guess it depends. Maybe if you're where are you at in Maine? Are you Portland, Maine? Bangor, Maine? Move to Connecticut. I'll put you up for free. That's an interesting area, the Northeast Connecticut area. That's where ESPN is, Bristol, Connecticut. Most important factors for you would be areas, climate, tax burden, affordability, demographics. Yeah, I think now but you're listing all of them. It's well, it's just it's demographics. It's how close is it to a big city? Is it on a main road? Things like that. Is the what is the surrounding area? I mean, that's just basically it. You're in climate. I like the 4 seasons, so climate is a big thing for me. Like, I would never live in Texas. I would never live in Florida because I would rather have 4 seasons. So really, it all is kind of a big thing. Yeah, the Connecticut is pretty expensive. Well, there's a lot of really nice real estate in Connecticut. There's a lot of expensive real estate in Massachusetts as well. Are you a LeBron fan? Not really. I'm not really a LeBron fan, man. No. But I'm not really a basketball fan, so maybe not the right question. I mean, when I was younger, I used to watch the Cavs. The Cavs did win a title in 2016. Certain parts of Texas have 4 seasons. Well, no parts of Fort. Yeah, but I mean, Texas, Texas will get one shot of cold air. That's it. I don't really consider that winter. But I know like the Panhandle area tends to get colder. But I mean, that's like right next to Oklahoma. Does Oklahoma really get 4 seasons? I mean, I don't really classify. Yeah, Oklahoma can get snow a few times a year, but deport LeBron, how dare you? From Akron? I think LeBron, I don't know if LeBron's going to, somebody asked me, is LeBron going to retire this year? I don't know. LeBron started his school in Akron. Could I send you a picture of a girl and yourself to answer if you're keeping your standards too high? I mean, I'd be able to give you. I mean, I don't know about giving you advice like that, man. Isn't it kind of? It should be. You should be able to. Well, honestly, actually, it is kind of hard to gauge. But if the girl's really hot and you're like a 7, it's probably not gonna happen for you, man. It depends. Are you wealthy? Go to Wyoming, one of the few states that can support your precious windmills. Yeah, no, Wyoming is really good for windmills. That's actually the problem with Wyoming. One of the big things that is an issue with Wyoming. Well, there's a lot of ridge. There's the terrain is pretty bad. I would love to visit West Virginia for a video. I think it would be a good video to see the abandonment and stuff like that, and really study what happened with West Virginia. But with Wyoming, you can't live in Wyoming. Wyoming is extremely windy. Wind is one of the worst things you can deal with because it's constant. If you have constant wind, that is one of the worst type of climates to deal with. It is such an annoyance when you go outside and it's windy. We have very little wind here where I'm at, like, because when it's a windy day, because it's like, wow, this is a windy day, it's crazy. Maybe 5 times a year, maybe we have that. Wyoming, it's constant wind. It's hard to live in a climate like that. It's not even the necessarily if it's 10 degrees or whatever. If it's constantly windy, there's something really annoying about just constant wind. I know I can deal with if it's like periodically, maybe one day it's windy, one day a month, something like that, a few days a month. If it's windy pretty much every day, it's a problem. How do you feel about long distance relationships? I think it's a big problem. It's a struggle. You're going to struggle with a long distance relationship. I mean, it depends the dynamic between people and the personality type, but I think it's very hard for long distance. Why is so much of this country so hot? In terms of the weather? Is that what you're saying? Well, you are right to a degree. I mean, in terms of the summer, the lower 48 is pretty much, I mean, the plains are just on fire nowadays. Like, North and South Dakota are in the 80s, 90s. They'll have extreme weather. The Northeast will be hot. Maine, it tends to be pretty mild. And the upper elevation, with the higher elevation in Colorado tends to be mild. There's areas in the western side of the country that are kind of mild into the 60s and 70s, I know. That would be great. It'd be great to find a colder area in June and July. I don't want to deal with what I just dealt with again. But, I mean, what else? Like, what even other areas are there in the summer? Send the picture of you and your girl to me on Discord. I don't know. Does he have my Discord? Summers are brutal throughout much of the U.S. Yeah, and if it's not humid, it's just dry, pure heat. I mean, because there's areas where it's not humid, like in out west, but it's really dry. But you do look at the I went to San Francisco when I was younger, and it was into the 50s, and my mom was complaining because it was in the 50s and it was like a summer vacation, and I was surprised. I was surprised at how cold it was, but that's just with the water. I was looking at the Cliff House in San Francisco. I don't know if it's in San Francisco, but is this old house mansion that burned down, and then they tried rebuilding it, but it looks way worse now. It's a ripoff. Believe it or not, the hottest state is Hawaii. Maybe in terms of, well, I don't know about that. I think Arizona would probably be classified as the hottest state. Even with Hawaii, I guess Hawaii is hot year-round. Maybe Arizona has cold nights. That's why. The Arizona desert has cold nights. It's in the 50s. It gets to the 40s. So, on average, yeah, Hawaii's more tropical, so it stays with highs and lows that are in like the 80s and 70s. So that's Hawaii. Hawaii would probably be the hottest state. Incorrect. Florida is the warmest state. But, I mean, I think it becomes a problem. Like, what area of Florida? Key West? Yeah, Key West is very close to the equator. Is Atlanta expensive? Atlanta, you don't want to live in Atlanta. She's not a model by any means. She is very pretty. You personally don't think you're a bad-looking guy. You've been told you're full of yourself. You don't really trust your own gauging. Well, have you talked to her? I mean, I'm not gonna be able to. I don't think I can coach you through it. Are you acquaintances with her? What's wrong with Atlanta? I'm in northern Florida and thinking about you can move to Atlanta. I would not recommend Atlanta. I would not. I would not go to Atlanta, man. I mean, I guess it depends what you want. If you want a big city, and once you leave the Phoenix area, the rest of Arizona is that. Yeah, I went to Arizona very briefly when I was on a trip to Las Vegas. Extremely hot, but it's very dry heat. Vegas is also very dry heat, but Vegas will get to like 115. It's insane. Vegas is a dystopian hellhole. I hate to tell people that. That's why all their casinos are the foot traffic is going down. It's in a desert. It's very hot. You just go there to lose money. I guess if you have a bunch of guys, you can go and get, I guess, whatever. You can go party and stuff, but I don't know, man. Vegas is I'm not a big fan of Vegas, honestly. Stay in northern Florida. The southern culture is amazing. You lose that in Atlanta. Yeah, I would strongly advise against moving from northern Florida to Atlanta. But again, it depends what your preferences are. I mean, what do you have, a remote job? Is that Flagstaff is nice? Yeah, Flagstaff gets cold. Flagstaff will get snow in Arizona. It's an interesting place. Yeah, Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs of Atlanta are getting very blue. Very blue. It's getting to the point to where people think it's going to be a blue state. I mean, right now it's a swing state. Trump won it in 24, but people are saying that Atlanta it's getting bluer. There were a couple of protests in your town today. They were protesting because the U.S. is apparently starving people. Who are we starving? I mean, what town are you in? Just curiosity. But I don't know. I think it's probably just anti-Trump stuff, if I had to guess. Maybe to have to do with the detainment of the immigrants, but I don't know. iCarly depressed ginger. I was recommended some iCarly videos out of the blue. It's like all these older people now going through iCarly and like rehashing the episodes. And like they were like, this episode didn't make the final cut, and all of these jokes are too dirty for children. But it's like now they're older people doing it, so I guess that's the YouTube genre. They go through the shows that we watched, and you look at them with it. I will say, man, as somebody that I'm in my mid-20s now, it is pretty insane how fucking stupid you are when you're like 19 or 21. Because even 4 years ago, compared to just the awareness I have when I think things through versus where I was at now, maybe people mature faster than me. I don't know, but it's humbling to think about when you gain life experience just in general, and you gain self-awareness, things like that. It's just, yeah, certainly. That's why when there's young kids, it's like, it's very hard to take what they say seriously, just because when you were there, you know how stupid you were. I mean, not with everything, but I don't know. It's just, Dan Schneider. Yeah, they make videos about that. That it's a bad situation. You're 23, still pretty dumb. Definitely was a lot smarter. Yeah, you'll keep getting. It's like more of a self awareness thing, and you'll be able to like. I'm able to analyze things and kind of analyze people a little bit better. Georgia is getting bluer, but aren't the Rust Belt swing states getting redder? Not. I mean, maybe Pennsylvania a little bit, but I mean, the thing is, this is the thing. Even if Georgia gets to be a bluer state, with the new math, it's still very, it's still not bad for conservatives, because we might be swinging Arizona. Arizona might be a little bit more red now, and maybe Pennsylvania with the voter registration. We'll have to see. But I mean, it's like Georgia is as blue as Pennsylvania is red right now. I'm just saying it because I know there's a lot of talk about Georgia being the state that sticks out in terms of actually swinging blue. Not that it necessarily will. Did you know that George W. Bush only won the 2000 election by 500 votes? Yep. Imagine we had a situation like that now with social media. Oh my. That would not be good. 500 votes in a swing state decides the election. Where's North Carolina swinging? I think North Carolina is a slight Republican state. I think it's a swing state, though. How confident are you that the Supreme Court will overturn the illegal tariff ruling by the appeals court? Yeah, they're going to overturn that. I'm very confident. If it makes it to that, they're going to overturn that for sure. So, why was Obama's white? Yeah, you're right. But you're right about that. I remember that episode. That was a awkward thing, trying to get popularity probably with young people. I don't know what the modern cartoons are. I don't know what any of the modern cartoon shows are. Hmm.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now...
Who did that? Oh, Yuli Gurriel did that. Does anyone remember that baseball player? All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm going to end it there. End of the week. End of the week. Thank you guys. I'll be seeing ya. Yeah, guys, like the stream, and I will see you later.